Hi, I'm Roger, a gadget guy, and today I want to find out the least amount of money you can spend and still get great sound from your home theatre or music system. Modern TVs have become really thin, and there's no room in them for decent speakers, and that's why modern TVs sound pretty bad. Now, you can get around that by using a soundbar. These have a lot more room in them for loudspeakers than a TV, but stereo speakers are bigger still. And the components from even the smallest bookshelf speakers are way too big to fit into a soundbar. And that's why a system of separate components will give you the best possible TV sound. Now, separate components normally cost more than a soundbar, but they don't have to. All you need to turn any pair of bookshelf speakers like these into home theatre is something that'll take the HDMI ARC output from your TV, convert it to audio, and then boost it so it's high enough level to drive those speakers. There are several devices on the market that'll do that, and the lowest priced one that I'm aware of is something called the Arylic B50. I've tested this, it works great, but it costs $140. I'm going to show you a way of achieving the same results for less than half that. This is the electronics that we're using for this system. Now, this little box takes the HDMI ARC signal from the TV and converts it into an audio signal. And this little box takes that very low-level audio signal from this and boosts it so it's strong enough to drive a pair of speakers. So shockingly, this little amplifier sends more power to the speakers than a big receiver like this from the 1980s. Well, you might wonder how that's possible. Well, I'm going to tell you. This is the inside of a stereo receiver from the 80s. And you can see how much larger it is than our little amplifier. Well, modern semiconductor technology can shrink a whole bunch of components down to a single chip, roughly the size of one of these. And that isn't the biggest miracle of these little guys. The biggest thing that's going on is what's called Class D amplifier technology. And what this does is it makes the circuitry incredibly efficient. Virtually all the power that goes into this comes out as sound. With this old thing, more than half the power that goes in goes to heating your room. And what that means is you need all of this metal stuff to keep the electronics cool. This is just cooling fins and completely wasted. And to provide all of that power that's being wasted, you need this massive power supply. The speakers I've chosen for this system are the Dayton Audio B652s. Now, these are great little speakers, and the little keyhole on the back tells us that they were designed to be mounted either on a wall or with their backs close to a wall, which makes them really ideal for a TV system. When they're placed against a wall, the sound is really clear and clean and full-bodied. Really excellent value speakers. I'll put links in the description to where you can buy all the products in this video. Although they're probably from brands you've never heard of, they use the same high-quality components in them that the big brands use. All the cables and connectors that you need to set the system up are provided with the products I've shown you. And the total system cost is less than $110. If you want to see in detail how to set this system up, then keep watching. Otherwise, you can skip forward to where I talk about how this sounds and how you can make the system even better. To set this up, First, I'm going to put the amplifier aside and take the audio extractor and plug in an HDMI cable to the ARC port. The other end of this cable goes to the HDMI ARC port on the TV. Then I make sure that this switch is turned to ARC, and I plug in the power connector. The other end of the power cord is a USB-A connector. Now this can be plugged into the TV, but some TVs will create odd noises when they turn on and off. So you can try it, and if you get bad noises, then just use a standard phone charging block like this one, and plug in the USB, and then this just goes into a power strip. Next, we connect the speaker wires to each of the speakers. Now, these speakers came with the speaker wires included in the box, which is nice. And to no one's surprise, we connect the red one to the red terminal, and we connect the black and red one to the black terminal. The speaker wires are screwed into these terminals, so you just have to unscrew them. And of course, the solid red wire goes into the red terminal, like so. Black and red wire goes into the black terminal, like so. And then the other speaker just screws into the other side. Next, the power supply gets plugged into the middle, like so. Now we have to make the final connection. Now this is the cable that came with the amplifier. Now I don't mind the Barbie pink color. It's going to be hidden anyway. But it's a little bit longer than we really need. So I'm going to replace this with something a little shorter and neater. And that plugs between the headphone output of the ARC adapter and the aux input of the amplifier. Now, all the connections are made. All we have to do is plug the AC adapters into power. Since the volume is going to be controlled by the TV, you don't need this volume control to be accessible. So all of this can be hidden out of sight. Now just set the volume to be about halfway and leave it there. If that's not loud enough for you when the TV volume is at maximum, then you can turn it up a little bit further and then just leave it and control the volume from the TV remote. So how does all of this sound? Well, it's just way better than using a soundbar like this one at about the same price. When you have a music concert video like this one, you just get more of a sense of space. It's more three-dimensional, more of a sense of being there in a theater. On TV programming, the voices are just clearer and easier to understand. And on movies, the sound effects and ambient sounds are just more lifelike and dynamic. Now, if I compare it to a system that costs 5 times as much, the more expensive system is a little better in all the ways that I've just mentioned, but it's not 5 times as good. And remember that your room acoustics will actually make more difference to the sound than small differences in equipment. Now, if you really want a significant upgrade for the minimum outlay, the thing to do would be to add a subwoofer. And this gives a lot more impact and weight to the sound and makes movie sound effects a lot more lifelike and gives you more bass in music. Now for a subwoofer, the Dayton Audio Sub 800 that I have here is a really good match for this system. It has speaker level inputs in addition to the line level inputs. Not all subwoofers have these, and they are necessary for the kind of amplifier that I showed you. The wires from the amplifier speaker terminals go to these two inputs, right and left. Then you put the wires to the speakers in the outputs, right and left. These two settings have been set to be, to my ears, about right for this system. And so if you buy this particular subwoofer, you can start with these settings here and adjust them to your taste. Now the subwoofer is normally placed on the floor, somewhere near the TV and speakers, but the placement isn't really critical. Now this subwoofer costs about $140. So for a total system cost of $250, you've got a system that can really rock. If you like this video, then give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you buy any of the products in the links that I provide in the description, it won't cost you any more, but those links do help to support this channel, and it's much appreciated if you use them. That's all I have for now. Thanks for watching.